The 2021 Financial Literacy Week theme is Take Care of Your Health, Take Care of Your Money. Now, the topic cuts across important facets of life such as health and wealth. When we talk about wealth, we're taking into account the raging COVID-19 pandemic that is having a global impact. And when we talk about wealth, we are talking about money. It is from this premise that the conversation of today will be focusing on taking care of your health whilst you do take care of your money. The name is Wenson Mavoro and you are welcome to this financial literacy discussion. And of course, my guest is Mrs. Susan Msoni, who is board chairperson for Professional Insurance Corporation Zambia PLC. And we will be discussing taking care of your money. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
Right. So, of what importance is financial literacy at personal level?
Thank you very much, Winston. Personal financial planning at personal level is very, very important. In your opening remarks, you talked about facets of life. So in life, there are a number of things that matter. And some of them include health, which you've talked about, social, family, spiritual. There are others, and finance is also one of them. It's very, very important that all of those facets of life are well balanced in order for somebody to have a satisfactory life. You see, a lot of people have succeeded because they've managed their finances properly, and equally, there are many others who've also ruined their life. Even when they would have done very well in career, they would have done very well in personal development or in family, but because there were failures in finance, at the end of the day, their entire life is ruined. Therefore, it is a subject that we cannot afford to neglect. It is a subject that requires attention, and someone needs to work on it throughout their entire life journey.
What are some of the basic steps towards attaining financial stability, as we know that it is the goal of literally, if not each and every human being, to be financially stable? But what are some of the steps that one can consider?
Okay. Winston, I want to put it in a very, very simple manner, okay? And I'm glad that you've said steps, which means that we recognize that it's a process. It's not something that you actually do in one day. It is something that you have to continue working at your entire life, okay? And it is something that you've got to do consciously, okay? But a few things that I would like to share with you in order to achieve that financial stability that we are talking about. The first thing I would say that is very, very important for one to improve their financial literacy, and that they must do that as quickly as possible, early enough in life. They must be able to improve their financial literacy, because if it is that financial literacy that is going to enable them to have a grip on their money. Now, you may ask me to say, what does improving financial literacy mean? Of course, in personal financial planning, I would say that in simple terms, the first thing that one must do is to take stock of their affairs, okay? They should take stock of their affairs, look into the future, and ask themselves simple questions. What will it take for me? What finances do I need to walk my life journey? Okay? Once they answer that question, they will soon realize that even other aspects of their life, other facets such as education, such as family, such as personal development, self-development, all of those also do have a financial impact. And when they answer that question, then they will be able to realize that there are financial obligations, for example, that are coming in the long term, and they need to bring those into the picture. So part of the question is to ask yourself, how much am I worth? Okay? If you are working or you are doing a business, you need to ask yourself, how much am I worth? And whether the value that you are bringing to the table is actually enough to meet the obligations that are coming in future. Okay? So that is part of improving financial literacy. Once you've improved your financial literacy, you've now obtained that understanding, and you've obtained that long-term view of your financial obligations. the next thing is to come up with a plan. You need to have a goal. What are your financial goals in life? You do that as early as possible. What are your financial goals in life? And once you've got those goals, then you must have a budget. Okay? The budget, you will have long-term budgets, you will have short-term budgets. After you have done your budget, then you must develop now habits, good financial habits that are going to help you achieve that budget. And when I'm talking about a budget here, Winston, I'm not talking about expenditures that you are going to meet in a particular month. I said that financial planning is a lifetime issue, and that it will in fact influence some of the decisions you will take over your life, including social decisions, such as who do I want to marry, such as how many children do I want to have, because you will then realize that those children will need to be put in school at some stage. Those children at some stage, they will need your help to settle down, and all of that takes money. So you get all of those activities and put them into your long-term budget, okay? And therefore, you are tagging your money in advance, and you are tagging your money ahead of time. So now, with the good financial habits coming in, good financial discipline, then when money comes, you realize that you must put it in the right boxes, so that when you need it in 10 years' time, when that child who is born today is going into school, it's readily available for your use, and there's no need for panic.
Some people have joked that money is made for women and women for money, but of course we know that, some women have challenges when it comes to managing finances. What are some of the attributing factors to some of these common challenges that women folk do experience when it comes to managing finances?
I would attribute the biggest reason to lack of financial literacy and financial discipline. Okay? And yes, whereas the question you are saying that is women, but it's a common problem among a lot of people, not just women. I think that the earlier one realizes in life, the earlier one understands in life the relationship between the money they are earning and the financial obligations they are going to meet along their life journey, the earlier they realize that, the better they will do. Because soon they will see that there is actually a financial gap that has already arisen even before they get to the time of expenditure. So, yes, we can say that maybe women, or most women, do experience that problem. Really, I would attribute it to a lack of financial awareness, because it's very easy for one to think that they have the money, when in actual fact they are already broke. They might have money in the pocket today or money in the bank account today, but what we are saying is, consider your net worth. How much assets do you have? How much liabilities do you have? And when you are looking at your liabilities, don't only look at the ones that are due now. Consider the ones also that are due in the longer term, in future. If you have children, for example, whose obligation do you think it is to bring those children up and to send them to school and to marry them off? It is your financial obligation to do that. And you need to realize that obligation now and bring it into the equation. So because maybe some of them don't do that or don't come to that realization soon enough, then they find that they misapply their resources maybe early in life, and then later on down the line, they do not have the resources because they have spent those resources on luxuries or wants, things that were not important in their life, and then they've left the important things to suffer. And hence, their deficiency is exposed. Then you say that the women didn't know how to manage their money. Apart from personal aspects, there are also issues to do with running a business. For example, okay, some would be running a business, but perhaps they're not able to separate properly the affairs of the business from those of themselves as individuals, as households. So it's very important that if one is running a business, they should also have the financial literacy to recognize that the business is an entity on its own and that it must be accounted for on its own. But I'll tell you what, there's a category of women that are actually very good at that. If you consider a marketeer, for example, a marketeer knows how much capital she requires every morning or every week when she goes for her orders. She knows that for orders I need to keep, for example, 3,000 kwacha for me when I go to Soweto market to go and bring another stock. And she's not going to eat into that 3,000. She will make sure that she makes that 3,000 kwacha first in this example. And then only the extra is what she will consider as her income. So yes, there are some women who are struggling with the concept of financial literacy, whereas some also have caught it.
Interestingly, you've mentioned the issue of a marketeer, which leads me to my next line of thought.
Yeah.
You know, there has been a misconception that financial literacy is about the formal sector. The white and blue collar people are the ones that, you know, must talk and be interested in financial literacy. Yet there are income earners present within the informal sector. Maybe just adding to what you've highlighted about the marketeer, how does financial literacy benefit those that are in the informal sector?
Financial literacy is for everybody. In fact, in my view, it is more so important for those who are not in formal employment than those who are in formal employment. The man or woman that is in informal employment does not have an employer to spoil them with a salary every 21st or 25th of the month. In other words, I'm saying they have got no guaranteed income. They have to realize that every morning they have to make an income in order for them to be able to meet an expenditure. It's as simple as that. So, for me, when we are talking about personal financial planning, it's everybody. Everybody has got a life to lead. Everybody is going to meet these financial obligations that we are talking about. And these are not things that are strange or that come out of nowhere. These are things concerning about us as a living being. Starting from living expenses. For you to live, you must spend some money. You've got bills to pay at household level. You've got to look after your children. You've got to send them to school. If you're sick, you've got to be able to meet your medical bills. So surely the person who is in the informal sector, who is not even guaranteed of a pay, needs to be a lot more proficient at how they do that than somebody who's got a salary. So financial literacy affects all of us. We all live in the same environment. We all live in the same economy. We are all faced with the same kind of challenges that we have to make every day and choices about where to buy, about where to borrow, how much to borrow, at what rate. So we are all exposed to the same financial products. So it's very, very important that we all understand that. If you take someone who is in a formal employment, for example, perhaps they have an employer who's paying for their medical scheme. But the person who is in informal employment needs to realize and work out how to do that by themselves. So they will need to be financially literate about the products that are on the market. For example, products such as insurance, be it general insurance, be it health insurance, okay? About also products that maybe banks offer, okay, which can help them to bring that discipline and that average spending to their expenses to avoid the expenses from fluctuating. So everyone needs to be aware of what is on the market. So informal or formal, equally, all of us need to be financially literate.
The Financial Literacy Week obviously has got a lot of activities that are put together by stakeholders that are aimed at, you know, championing this cause. And the 2021 focus, you know, hinges on initiatives that are, you know, zeroing in on taking care of one's money. You know, as simple as it may sound, how does one go about achieving this?
How do you go about taking care of your money? Winston, there is a saying that money comes, money goes. Money comes, money goes. There is also a saying that money is not a problem. The problem is how to spend it or how to use it, rather. So all of those things teach us that money has got to be taken care of. You talked about somebody who's in the informal sector earlier on. You also talked about somebody who's in the formal sector who gets paid at the end of the month. Okay? So for all these categories, or both of these categories of people, money will come and money will go. Okay? And earlier on, I talked about the need for everybody to be able to have financial goals in their life and have a budget that is going to help them to meet those financial goals. I can assure you, there is a financial gap, and everybody will have a financial gap. There is nobody who's got enough money to meet all of their needs. Never mind the wants, but not even just their needs. A financial gap will always arise. And therefore, in realizing that there is a financial gap, that is where now that taking care comes in. Because once you've realized that quick enough in your life, you are now beginning to have a grip on your money. And having your grip on your money, now you are saying, wait a minute, how much income am I bringing in, or am I able to bring in? Is there anything more that I can do to increase my income? For example, starting a little business on the side. For example, going into entrepreneurship. You are taking care of your money. If you ask yourself that question and you are able to arrive at answers. You also look at the expenditure side, which is money goes. You are asking yourself the questions, what am I spending my money on? What do I need in the next 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years? For how long will I in fact be able to generate this level of income? I may be energetic today, but 10 years from now, 30 years from now, the story will be different. I will have no energy, but I will still need to live. I will need to eat. I will need to have electricity in the house. I need to go to the hospital when I'm sick. Where is the money going to come from? So the realization of that financial gap then now teaches you how to take care of the money. Because then you are learning simplistically to say, I must do something to increase my earnings, and I must control or contain my expenditure. So that is what now is going to help you cultivate the good financial habits that I talked about earlier. Because then now you're going to make appropriate decisions about where to put your money and where not to put it. You don't need anybody to come and tell you that. It's up to you to make that realization as soon as possible. And that realization is what is going to guide you going forward. And for me, that is what taking care of your money is all about.
For the sake of my contemporaries that are watching us right now, you know, whom I see post a lot on social media nowadays, you know, saying I'm caught in between, you know, you only live once and I have to plan for tomorrow by taking care of my money today. You know, why should I deny myself, you know, just once of this possibly maybe an unnecessary expenditure that they can do without? What would be your quick counsel?
Okay, that's a very good question. Okay, we are not saying that people should not spoil themselves a little bit. Okay, we are not saying that people should not entertain themselves or have nice things. What we are saying is that people need to understand the cost or the expense at which they are coming to them. It's about choices. It's the choices that one is making. Okay? Of what use will it be if someone spoils themselves today and then tomorrow they do not have a house, for example, to sleep in? So what we are saying is that come to a realization of what your needs are. Compare your needs to your wants. Okay? Even those needs also, there's a scale. For example, you can say that everyone needs a house, okay? But one person will be content with a 2-bedroom house, while another one needs a mansion, an upstairs house, okay? So we are really saying, determine what your needs are. For example, holiday is a need. Everybody needs to go on holiday, okay? But the question is where, which holiday package can you afford to go to, okay? Whether it's coming to sit under a tree like this and enjoying fresh air, or are you going to pay to go to the game park somewhere and do that, it's all up to you. It's up to you to make the decisions. But what we are saying is for you to have that financial grip, you have to make sure that you've taken consideration of all the things that matter in your life and you've put money on them so that tomorrow you do not become a burden on other people. Okay, so that tomorrow you do not sleep hungry just because you went and blew your money in a nightclub because you wanted to feel nice at that point in time. That is what we are saying. Okay.
Yeah, so women savings initiatives, you know, such as village banking that have become so popular, you know, both in urban and rural areas, you know, what level of financial inclusion and independence can be derived from such initiatives?
Okay, I like the village banking initiative. Because, like you've rightly said, it includes everybody. Okay, everyone can have an opportunity to participate. But for me, one of the advantages or two advantages that I've seen is that firstly, it allows women or people to pool their resources together. It's a way of saving, bringing money together, and for those who want a more affordable source of capital to go and start maybe a small business, they can have access to that. So people are empowering themselves within a group, okay, and they are also promoting this discipline of saving. Because if someone really is able to put money aside in a village banking group every month, then they are developing the discipline of saving, okay, and they can also have a network there with which to work with, even for their products and so on. So I think that they are a very good initiative.
And when we talk about inclusivity, do you think that these avenues are also adding to making sure that financial inclusion, improves?
Yes, they are. Okay, because for example, they put that money together. Soon they will need maybe a bank in which to put it. They will need to open accounts where to put it. And so even people who didn't have bank accounts can know that now there's a bank account. There are all these savings products that they can put their money in. So I think it's a good idea.
Before I move on to my next line of thought, you've brought in banks, and
Yes.
I had an opportunity to interact with some women in rural areas in Northern Province,
Yeah.
and one of the issues that they had raised was the issue of banks not being friendly in terms of terms and conditions, that they would give to people at that level. So they were asking if at all there could be a way that there could be, say, tailor-made services that could be made for them to be able to ensure that they also get into the main financial mainstream. Your thoughts on that?
Yes, in actual fact, I think that most of them already have. Okay, because I've heard some banks actually even market on village banking, for example. Okay, and of course nowadays, apart from banks, you've also got mobile money, which in most cases is already integrated to a good number of banks. So all of those are ways in which you make sure that the rural people who were previously unbanked can now easily be banked. So to a large extent, that actually is already being done.
Let me draw you back to the
Yeah.
2021 theme for Financial Literacy Week, which focuses on taking care of one's health
Yeah.
and taking care of one's money. How best can you summarize this particular interesting theme?
Okay, my summary would be that healthy is a very important component of one's life, and it requires money in order to be in good health. Okay, but also for one to make money, they should also be in good health. So I need to be healthy and energetic in order for me to make the money. And out of the money that I make, some of it I should spend it on my health, and the cycle continues. But also the opposite side of the coin is that if I don't look after my money properly, I might end up having some other types of diseases. Okay? Some of the worries that people have in life, the big worries they have, are financial worries. And those kind of worries can trigger complications sometimes in one's life. You can even develop hypertension, you can develop ulcers, just because you're worried of your financial affairs. So for me, it's very, very important that you be in good healthy to make the money, and also you look after that money properly so that you do not cause yourself unnecessary worries which can lead to complications. And also another angle is that for those who are in older ages, you actually realize that the health bill is one big component of your expenditure. Therefore, it is actually one component that you need to begin setting aside money for, okay, for your health, okay, because sooner or later the bills are so big that you're not going to be able to meet the cost that it takes to keep yourself in good health. And in there now lies the need for you to be financially literate, because now you need to realize and know what products are on the market, for example, health insurance, that can actually help you to bring or to contain the cost to a level that you are able. How much premiums can you actually be putting in every month in order to buy a certain package of health, for example? So really, for me, that is my simple interpretation. I need to be healthy in order for me to make money, and for out of that money that I make, some of it must go towards my healthy. I should not mismanage my financial affairs because that can cause unnecessary complications even on my health.
We recently commemorated the International Women's Day, whose interesting theme was Women in Leadership, Achieving an Eco Future in a COVID-19 World. How would personal finance help to achieve this important theme?
Okay. So, we've talked about a lot of things in personal finance. We've talked about having a budget, okay? We've talked about having a long-term realization of what your needs are. And in order to get there, inevitably so, you will have to have some savings along the way. And as you make those savings, you will have to invest some of those savings into some assets or into some other financial instruments that can earn you more money. Now, the COVID pandemic has taught us the importance, really, of being on top of our financial affairs. Because I'm sure we all saw what happened. A good number of people lost their jobs, whether formal or informal sector. They lost their incomes, okay? And now you tell me, if they did not take a long-term view to their financial affairs and realize that they needed to be putting something aside every month, what could have happened? Okay, if they only lived for the moment or only lived for the month, what could have been happening to them now? Okay, so for us as women, really, this is an opportunity also for us to demonstrate the leadership. Even at household level, we expect that the woman would demonstrate financial leadership, because the woman will realize that the family still needs to survive. You've got children that are eating now, you still need to realize that even tomorrow and the day after tomorrow, they'll still need to eat. And so we expect that they'll be very good custodians of resources, okay? And of course, for them to survive in these hard times, the savings that one would have put aside is what can help you to either plug the financial gaps that you're experiencing now at household level, or to provide you a little capital that you can invest again to start something that can create more money for you. Yeah.
The recently launched FinScope study, finally, as we wrap up this conversation, indicated that about 71.2% of males are financially included, compared to about 67.9% of females. How can this gender gap be bridged?
I think that it can be bridged by making deliberate efforts. Earlier on, you talked about whether the financial industry, for example, was bringing certain products closer to the people. So I think that even some of these village banking initiatives, for example, that you're talking about, are also part of bridging the gap. But I also think that even maybe some of the cultures also need to be broken down. We need to start talking about money at home, okay? And we need to realize that money really is everyone's business. Children, mothers at home, wives at home, okay? In a family, even if it's only one, maybe the husband, for example, is in formal employment, they also need to make sure that they include the woman when they're talking about money. So I think that we need to we need to raise the levels of financial literacy and financial awareness. But where the percentages are sitting, I think is catching up. We are getting there. Yeah.
Thank you very much for talking to me.
Yeah, thank you very much. The pleasure was mine. Thank you.
My guest has been Susan Msoni, who is the board chairperson for Professional Insurance Corporation Zambia PLC, and we were talking about taking care of one's money in view of the 2021 Financial Literacy Week, which will be commemorated under the theme, Take care of your health, take care of your money. Remember, health is wealth.